Welcome to our community. Susie Thomas with you this morning. Every once in a while, when we hear of something that could be of real use to listeners, we'd like to bring that to you. And today's one of those days. We are speaking with Tony Ciccarelli. He's from Senior Mortgage Advisors. Good morning.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
All right. So the program is called Our Community. What can Senior Mortgage Advisors do for members of our community, Tony?
You know, we try to help as many Ohio people as we can, but when we talk about our community, you know, I represent a special government insured program called a home equity conversion mortgage. And it's a special program for people that are age 62 and above. And the interesting thing that, statistically speaking, a lot of seniors are struggling. You know, they're living barely making on their Social Security or their fixed income, and they don't realize that there is this option available to them that the government provides, that the government insures, that they can use some of the equity of their house to completely change their financial picture, and they don't even realize it's available to them.
Let me stop you right there. Why is that? Because people 62 and over, you think, okay, maybe they've been working since they were 16, 18, whatever. We've always been told, put a little bit away, tuck a little bit away. You'll be happy one day when you do. It'll grow. You'll be surprised. You'll look and see, oh my goodness, compounding interest does work. And why are so many people stuck in their mid-60s without a nest egg?
You know, and I can't say necessarily without a nest egg per se, because maybe they have some, but, you know, you look at Social Security that barely goes up every year, barely goes up a year. Medications go up, Medicare costs go up. So people are, you know, you're living on a fixed income, so you're essentially retiring at a discount of what you were working full time at. So you're already taking a pay cut when you retire. And then, you know, the case of a widow or widower where someone, not only do you lose your life partner, but you lose that income as well. Yes. Now you take a drastic paycheck cut and you find yourself saying, geez, whiz, I once was comfortable 6, 7, 8 years ago. Now I'm barely getting by. And I hear this story over and over and over. And when you see the 65, 70-year-old person working at a place making maybe minimum wage, you wonder, are they doing this because they need the extra money, or are they doing it because they want to get out of the house? And my sensation is that they're doing it because they need that extra $500 or $600, that they're so strapped financially, and they don't realize that a lot of those pain problems can completely go away with this government-insured program that we provide to people. And we're the only lender in Stark and Summit County and Tuscarawas County that just do this.
A lot of people have retirement jobs for the socialization, for a reason to get up in the morning, get dressed, go contribute. You kind of, I think 60-year-olds these days are different than 60-year-olds in decades past. They feel still young. They are at the top of their game. They might want to try something different at this age. And so they might be just looking for something new to do. You're talking about the person who maybe is beyond that, who is ready to really kick back, relax a little bit, travel if they could afford it, but you're saying they can't.
Well, absolutely. And it's not necessarily a program for the dire. You know, I've got so many examples of people whose lives that we've blessed. You know, we were just working with someone last Friday, and she had a mortgage that she wanted to pay off. She was a widower. She was a widow, and she had a mortgage she wanted to pay off. She had a car payment she wanted to get rid of. She wanted to put some money away because she really didn't have any money to put away. And she had 2 sons, and she says, I really want to take my family to Hawaii while I'm still healthy to do so. I really want to just bless my kids and their spouses and their kids and say, Grandma wants to take you guys to Hawaii. But she says, I'm barely getting by on my Social Security. And when she heard about this program, and she called me, and I asked her, I says, ma'am, what would you like to change about your financial picture? She says, well, I got this mortgage that I got like 12 more years to go, and I don't want to be in my 80s and still have this payment. And I got this car payment, and I'm barely getting by right now. So you have the dire situations. Then you have people that want to be more comfortable. The person who may be at age 53, 54 decided to buy a home, and it happens all the time. And they wake up and they're 68, and they're saying, geez, whiz, I've got 15 more years to go with this payment. What was I thinking? I don't want to do this anymore. And this program can make that payment go away. People don't realize with this program, Susie, you don't make a monthly payment as long as you live in that house. And that's what's really, really fascinating, where people can use some of the equity of their home, pay off their current mortgage, maybe subsidize cash flow so that they don't have to do that 25-hour-a-week job on their feet at a restaurant that they don't want to do anymore. Maybe they want to pay off that car or take their family to Hawaii like this one elderly woman, and the payments are zero out of your checkbook every month until you move away.
I am going to need you to explain a lot of this to me.
Okay.
How much of your home, you're saying that somebody who purchased their home at age 55 and taking out, are you saying a 30-year mortgage? And then
that was the example that I used,
10 or 15 years later, you don't have much equity in that home.
Well, you might be surprised with appreciation. And,
really?
Depending upon time, they could have, if you've got at least 50% equity or more, so people who have homes that are paid for or people that maybe owe half as much as it's worth, they can make that payment go away, and the payments are zero with this program as long as they live in the home for the rest of their life.
Now, it sounds to me that the bank is buying it back from you, that you finally own your home, but now you're not going to pay any more mortgage payments, and the bank is going to just buy it back from you instead of so then do you not own your home anymore at the end of the day?
I mean, I have a mortgage with Huntington Bank, and I feel like I own my home, but I have a debt. So in this example, no, it's not free and clear. So maybe a person has their home and it's paid for, Susie. And then if they want to go get a loan against it, a mortgage, a home equity, whatever, they still own the home. They've just got that lien. With the home equity conversion mortgage, they've got a lien as well, but they don't have to make any payments each month. And that's the benefit to the senior, is that, they can do a lot of things, but they're not making a payment as long as they live in that house. They still own it. And when they pass away, their kids are going to inherit it as well, and they could sell it and pay off that loan. But the family does own the house.
Okay, let's pretend I'm coming to you now.
Okay.
We're going to pretend that I'm a senior.
Okay.
And that I'm coming to you, and you're going to explain this to me. Tony, I think that's the best way to go about this. Hi, Tony. I have a house. I'm interested in finding more about reverse mortgages, or the accurate term, a home equity conversion. I have a little equity in my home. We've lived there for 20 years. What do I do? What's my first
thing
step?
I do to people is I want to learn about your situation. So first of all, the government sets how much you can borrow based upon your age. It's not gender specific. It's not health related. So it doesn't matter what your health situation is or if you're male or female. The government sets how much you can borrow. So I'd want to ask you some questions. Susie, first of all, where do you live? And I'd want to put that address in the computer and look up 4 different websites that I subscribe to give me an idea of maybe what that house is worth. And then I'm going to go to you and say, Susie, what do you want to change about your life? What would you like to change financially? What are some situations that you'd like to do differently? And then, of course, my experiences of helping so many seniors, I'll ask you questions that maybe you didn't think of. Do you have home repairs that maybe you'd love to do but can't afford to do? Are you looking for increased cash flow? Are you looking to put some money into a trust to preserve your legacy with your grandkids, your kids? So I'm going to ask you questions about your situation. And then when I figure out what you want to accomplish, I'll go to my computer system and I'll determine how much we think your house is worth and how much you're going to be able to get. And then I'll circle back with you and say, Susie, you can have access to X amount of dollars. And then, of course, I go into the details of the program with people so that they understand. And it's important to realize you got to be 62 or older to be eligible. You are not required to make a monthly payment as long as you live in the home.
Wow.
The payments the money is only due when 2 events happen: when you move away or when you pass away. And you move away by saying, hey, we've had it with Ohio weather. We're going to move to Florida. Then you would sell your home with a realtor, pay off the mortgage, get remaining equity that's entitled to you, and then move to Florida. Or when people are no longer to provide for themselves or take care of themselves and they'll go into a nursing home. That is a move-away event that triggers the loan to be due. Or when we pass away. The government protects seniors, and this came out, Susie, in 2014, where if one person passes away or goes into full-time care, the surviving spouse is legally allowed to stay in that home, payment-free, till they move away or pass away.
Now, this sounds like this is for people who don't own their home outright. There'd be no sense at all if you already don't have a mortgage payment to get a reverse mortgage.
Well, that's a great question. I just helped one couple that I helped one gal in Cincinnati. She was taking care of her parents. Both have early onset dementia. She was a divorced woman herself, working 40 some hours a week, and then taking care of mom and dad in the evenings. Her plate was full. I mean, I really felt the pain of what she was dealing with. She was trying to bring in a private pay in-home care agencies, the kind of places that we see all around town. They're taking care of people. But what a lot of people realize when they see these services that are wonderful, they say, I want it, I need it, I can't afford to pay for it. And that's one of the biggest obstacles. So this person realized that if they can get this mortgage on mom and dad's home, create this pool of money that they can tap into every month to pay for these care providers to come and take care of mom and dad, so that she can not have to do it 5 days a week, but maybe go down to 2 or 3, where she could have some sort of a life. And so mom and dad's house was paid for. She's like, hey, when mom and dad pass away, I don't care about the house. I want to take care of them while they're alive. I want to make sure that they can enjoy the life that they want to live and be taken care of. So we're using this equity in lieu of cash that they didn't have to pay $2,500, $3,000 a month, whatever the number was. And they use this reverse mortgage to do that. And I hear more siblings, more 40 and 50-year-old people saying, that's me. We're taking care of mom or dad. We're taking turns where I'm on Monday and brother's on Tuesday and my sister's on Wednesday. And we're doing this juggle and we're saying, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Is there another way? And they realize, geez, we don't want to spend $2,000 out of our pocket that maybe we don't have surplus of to provide in-home care. What do we do? This spiral that we're going to be in for who knows how long. Mm-hmm. And they don't realize that if your house is paid for, you can still do something like this.
So this creates income rather than just a zero mortgage payment.
That is correct.
How is that different than a home equity loan?
Home equity loan is a payment, and you have to make a payment every month. So that is the biggest difference. A lot of people on a fixed income, the last thing they want to do is add another bill. So they borrow $30,000 or $40,000 or $50,000 from a home equity loan because they want to replace a failing roof, and they want to have some additional cash flow. And then they got to write a check every month for $200 or $300 or whatever the number is. And they're like, geez, we're barely making it now. Why do we want to have another $300 bill? With the reverse mortgage from the government, your payments are zero. And that's the big difference.
Is the amount that you have access to the same as your equity in your home?
You can't have all of the equity. Typically, you can get up into it depends. The older you are, the more you can have. And I'll give you an example in a second. But typically, you can get upwards of the 50 to 60% of the equity of your house. The remainder is your profit that you're going to be able to realize once you sell or once your beneficiaries or heirs inherit the home. But the government doesn't allow you to take all of your equity. No different than a regular lender doesn't allow you to take all of your equity. With these loans, you're not able to take as much because you're not making a payment to reduce that balance.
Now, you're saying that for as long as you live.
For as long as you live in the home.
As long as you live in the home, you do not make a mortgage payment.
That is correct.
What if you outlive the value of your home?
Then you have possibly negative equity. So, and that's a wonderful feature of this program, and it's called a non-recourse loan. And I'm going to explain what that means, Susie. We found out back in 2007, 8, and 9 where people whose homes had dropped in value so much that they owed more than they were worth. And those banks that had mortgages on them, they was like, hey, sorry, your home isn't worth what you owe. You owe me my money. So when they were trying to sell or whatever the case may be, those people were forced to file foreclosure or do a short sale. With a reverse mortgage, it's the only loan in the country where if you owe more than it's worth, the senior gets to walk away. The government insurance on the loan picks up all negative equity. The only collateral is the house. So if the person passes away and they have life insurance, it's not applicable. If the kids who inherit the home have their own money or 401ks or savings accounts, it's not applicable. The only collateral is the house. If it sells for less than is owed, the federal government picks up the negative equity. The senior and their families are off the hook of that money.
I think the last thing anyone wants to do is leave their children with a debt.
Exactly.
So if the children sell the home, then whatever it sells for, everything is considered free and clear.
They're done.
Very interesting. All right, we are speaking with Tony Ciccarelli. He's from Senior Mortgage Advisors. Interesting information.
Yeah,
we'll be back
it's a cool
with
program.
more after these words. You're listening to Our Community.